Welcome to Why Is This a Podcast? I'm your host, Kieran Watts. Lovely to see you again. If it's your first time watching, watch the others. They're actually quite good. Got a special edition. In the time I've been doing the podcast, I've relied on the friendship, the goodwill, and the services of two gentlemen who I really love working with and who do a great job with me, for me. My editor, James Waters, and my researcher, Jack Haywood. And I thought it would be lovely to have an episode where James, Jack, and I just have a conversation together and we share our lockdown experience with you, and we just talk about, well, we chat shit. Guys, hi.
Hey, Kieran.
What's
How are
poppin',
you?
players?
How are you guys?
Okay.
Yeah, not too bad. You?
Yeah, great. It's difficult to do these things with people where you talk often because you know how in general how people are. But I suppose what I want to ask you both, most of all, and this is obviously supposed to be a natter, so it's not supposed to be so formal. I'm only dressed like this because this is how I go to bed, and this is how I wake up. So I just do it like that. But have you learned anything about yourselves through lockdown?
James, I guess you can go first.
I was saying you can go first.
No, you go first.
No, you go first.
Okay, I guess I'll go first. So I guess the one thing I've learned over this lockdown is that I have little to no motivation to do anything, because you hear about everyone trying to chug along during a lockdown, trying to make the best of a bad situation, but picking up new hobbies or just continuing what they were trying to do, but in their own house. I just kind of waddled around the confines of my house like a wall lizard, blaring my tongue at anyone who dares to come near me.
I think I found that I'm quite easily bored. Quite struggled throughout the lockdown. Always kind of needing something to do, and with places like I don't know. I am not a big drinker or anything like that, but not being able to go to Spoons with my girlfriend and have some chicken nuggets and a drink, that's been quite difficult. So I think
That's life for a man.
yeah. So I think I've learned about myself that I constantly need something to do. So that's why this is kind of good, because I know, once a week it gives me a couple hours to do something,
Even sometimes not even just once a week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's nice to have a bit of a routine.
Whenever I can get a guest.
Yeah.
Whenever
Yeah. What about you? What have you learned about yourself, Key?
I've learned that I'm a terrible human being.
And we all.
During lockdown?
I've learned that I'm a terrible human being. I shouldn't be allowed near the elderly. That coughing on the elderly and licking their doorknobs maybe was not a great idea. I've learned that about myself. In all seriousness, I've learned that I procrastinate more than perhaps I should. I've learned somewhat oxymoronically, somewhat at odds with that I've also got the capacity to do creative things. in hostile circumstances. And I've learned that I can launch a podcast. I did learn that similarly to whichever one of you said you get easily bored. I think it was James.
Mm.
I learned, I do get easily bored. And I do want to do things that are creative, that are innovative, that make the most use of my I don't want to say talent. I don't want to blow smoke at my ass. But I'm not a particularly talented person.
You just need an outlet.
Mm.
But I do have some skills, and I have discovered over the course of with health issues India, for example, interviewing people for that. I have sort of discovered I really like talking to people, and I really like getting their passion into a conversation, and finding out what motivates them, what drives them, what they care about. I really do enjoy that. I enjoy talking to people about that, which is part of why I started Why Is This a Podcast? And I'm glad to have you guys on board. I think I'm basically somebody who's fundamentally inept at pretty much everything, getting people who are very, very skilled to talk about what they're good at. So that's a very long-winded answer to the question I first posed.
Business as usual then for you.
So you two, how have you sustained yourselves? Because it's a question I've asked quite a few people.
Well, basically, how do we get through it?
Yeah, just like what do you what do you do? What do you how do you stay sane, basically?
I play a lot of games. I've listened to a lot of other podcasts.
Not this.
Kind of. No. I frankly hate you. No.
I'll take
Yeah.
I'll take your money.
Yeah.
I'll take your money, but screw you otherwise.
No, that yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, basically, so basically, I just play a lot of games and kind of just let the world go by, and that's it.
James?
There was literally like nothing beyond that at this point.
I've been quite lucky. So I've worked for, a lot of the time. When we were first in lockdown, I think maybe a month later, I was working and I worked for the most of the year. And the same goes for this year. So I've been quite lucky that I've been able to go out and work. I haven't been furloughed or anything like that. So that's kind of what I've done with a lot of my time. And then
that's mad lucky.
Yeah, then I was in uni, so I didn't work while I was in the beginning of uni, so I could focus on my studies. So it was quite nice to be able to focus on, I had to make short films and stuff like that for uni. So it was nice to be able to do that. And it was nice that I didn't necessarily need anybody else to do that as well. Kind of gave me an excuse to work all on my own, which was quite nice. And similarly to Jack, just playing video games. And the only podcast I watch is the H3 podcast. Sorry, Keith, but I have to watch all of this to edit it. I ain't watching it again. But yeah, that's generally what I do. What about you, Keith? Other than this podcast, what do you do? I know you work full time.
As you said, I work full time. I go for sort of like like when people do comfort eating. I do that with film and TV. So I've been rewatching film and films and TV series that I like. So in particular ones that I love from my childhood. So stuff like I mentioned it to Jack before, like Recess. I love Recess, and I've been rewatching that.
I'm a human being.
The Lion King, Treasure Planet. I just like those things from when I was a kid that brought me joy. Just rewatching them and getting into them again a bit, and then also just sort of watching current TV series like Line of Duty. I love Unforgotten's just finished. It's just been sort of getting immersed into somebody else's world.
A world that ain't this one.
Eh?
A world that isn't this one.
Exactly. Getting immersed into that and just thinking, because my job with public health is such a huge part of it. And so I just don't outside of that, I don't want to think about bloody COVID-19 as much as nobody wants to think about it. But I'm like, within part of my working environment and stuff. So I don't, it's just thinking about other stuff, and it's nice to think about things that aren't COVID-19 related.
Yeah,
So
go on, Jack.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say that the touch on like what Kieran was saying just then. I hate like when you're watching TV and like soaps on now, and like you turn on Corey, and they're all like they've got like masks on and like social distancing, and like I get that Corey's pretty much supposed to be like the most real life thing aside from real life, but it's just it's bleak. Like you could just like not acknowledge it because people like watch that shit to get away from real life, and then like you just suck back in.
It is ironic though that I do love Casualty, and I've been that is ironic. I will grant you that. It's also the fact that it's a terrible time to start watching The Crown. What with the death of Prince Philip.
Spoilers for like season 10.
Spoilers for season 6 of The Crown.
Yeah.
Prince Philip
Duke of Edinburgh dies. Rest in peace, your Royal Highness.
Yeah, that was quite sad. On like the same topic, I've been watching a lot of old shows as well, and I don't know about you guys, but I find myself looking at people from like a TV show from like 10, 15 years ago, and they stood closer than 2 meters, and I'm thinking to myself, should you be stood that close to each other?
Oh my God.
It's like ingrained in us now that I can't get it out of my head,
Yeah, and I get that. I really get that, because like so many of my favorite films, and we'll come on to favorite films in like a bit. But I'll invoke one, which is Casablanca, where a lot of the action in Casablanca, it takes place inside a bar. And I'll watch Casablanca and I'm like, they're in a bar.
Why
are they not real?
Why are they there? They shouldn't be allowed in there. Sod the Nazis. Why are the others in the bar? And why are none of them wearing masks? And yeah, it is it is like you said, James. It's really quite I don't know what the word is. It's disturbing
Mm.
the level to which now, because the pandemic hit and we thought, right, we're in this now for a couple of months. At worst, we're a couple of months after that, we're fine. And we're like over a year later now. And we're like, we still got to wear masks in public places. We've still got to physically distance. And yeah, I get you. I get you. Jack, what video games have you enjoyed playing during lockdown?
What video games have I enjoyed playing during lockdown?
Yes.
Well then,
I've been told I had to set up the question.
I've dabbled in a video.
Question.
Okay, I have dabbled in a video game or two during this year and a month period. I could tell you a few that I have enjoyed.
Can I ask you one question before you
Yeah.
answer the first question? Could you not say it like you're a hostage?
No, that's virtually impossible.
Just ignore the fact that I'm behind you with a gun.
Okay. So during lockdown, I purchased another PS2. I did have a PS2, but it went kablowy. So I actually purchased two PS2s off eBay. The first one being half broken without the dude even like uh admitting it. So then I just went, bugger this thing, I have to buy another one. So I then spent a lot of time buying a lot more of the games I like back. And one of my favorite PS2 games has to be Ape Escape 3. Ape Escape 3 is a game where you capture the monkey. And I do enjoy capturing a monkey or two.
In the similar position to you, Jack, where I found myself playing games that like we used to play when we were back in school
Yeah.
or when I was young, and
I do that a lot. I gay though, because like being nostalgic is like 75% of my personality at this point.
yeah, like I would spend like 5-6 hours a day just playing Minecraft all on my own, just like
Yeah. Do you remember when we all used to play Minecraft back in like 2011?
yeah, we used to run like creative servers and it would just be us and we would build really rubbish things, wouldn't we?
Yeah, it was rad.
Yeah.
You say all of us.
Kieran, you did the last time you played a video game was probably in like 2016, and we could all remember how that went.
Yeah.
I just wait when Jack said all of us.
Yeah,
I was just saying, just
all of us
keep-
except
keep
Kieran.
in mind. Yeah.
it was like a large group of us from school at Wood. I actually tweeted about that like last night, saying that when Minecraft initially came out on 360 in like 2011, there was probably I was never excited for a game as much as that, right? It was such a unique feeling that probably could not be copied at this point. It was so good.
I remember like a mate came over with it and he had it on his Xbox, and back in the day on the 360 you could essentially steal somebody's games and you could download them to your own console and you don't have to pay for them. So we
with a USB stick.
Yeah, I think so. So we basically did that, and that was my introduction to Minecraft. And then obviously I met you and everybody else. We used to play all the time, and I can just remember like how much the game has changed in that period and how we used to wait for title updates and stuff like that. And like the excitement we'd all have when a new title update would come in.
Because it was literally just like the alpha of the game that came out when it first.
Yeah.
And, like, the PC version was like 2 years ahead of it.
Yeah, and now I'm playing on PC, and the game is like way more advanced than I remember.
Yeah, because Microsoft bought it, so it's like it's in line, all of them.
Yeah. So that's been quite nice to do over lockdown.
I was playing the Spyro trilogy earlier, the remastered Spyro trilogy. Still holds up. Well, I say still. That was like that was only like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Enjoy that shit a lot.
I rooted my 3DS so that I could play all the ROMs and stuff straight off my 3DS because I'd play them
Oh,
on
yeah.
I'd play them on my computer and it's not the same.
No, it's
It's not,
never the
it's not
same.
it's not the same feeling. So being able to play them on my actual like old console was quite nice.
Yeah, being able to have Pokemon as something you could smash is way better.
Yeah.
Kirian, please tell us the crossword answers today.
Oh, fuck you. I had two final questions for you before I let you both go. So the first one is, what new skills have you learned during? Have you learned any new skills during lockdown?
Can't say I have.
What
But,
that?
no, I don't think I have. Like I, I literally don't. I don't think I'm any. I'm probably just like more jaded at this point.
Like aside, but you learned how to, you learned about researching for a podcast.
Yeah.
Give yourself credit there. And you're a great researcher.
Yeah. Well, researching a very little to go as well. That was a good challenge, honestly. Actually, yeah, okay.
Okay,
Fair
good.
enough.
James.
Just trying to think. I mean, in the beginning of lockdown, I just bought a drone, so it was nice to be able to go out and learn to fly that.
I'm familiar.
But I think, I don't know. Again, I haven't really learned anything new. Like the whole big thing about the first lockdown was everybody was learning to cook and paint and do all sorts of weird things,
Yeah.
weren't they? I didn't
That
do
was
anything
my-
like that.
That was my bloody problem with them.
They were all
I
building
thought No, it's
Sorry.
not my problem with them, but just like people assumed that the new things that you would do would be cooking or painting or something.
Well, yeah,
I'm just gonna start a podcast. That's fine. That's enough.
people are building Lego Star Destroyers upside down.
Oh,
Wow.
would have loved to build a Lego Star Wars Destroyer in the last year. Oh,
Because
would have been amazing.
Next time we do one of these, we should do that.
A
Yeah,
live stream of you building a Star Destroyer. That'd be pretty cool.
that's the thing. One of us has the instructions in another language. One of us has the pictures for the instructions, and then one
Dude,
of us
that'd be
has the Lego.
That would be so funny.
Like a three-way build. And I don't know, the one who's least experienced with Lego, so I assume it's Kirian. He's the one who has to actually put the bits together.
I have to translate it from like Arabic.
Yeah.
And with that, Jack, James, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us on.
Thanks,
No worries.
Thanks for all the work that you do for me. Join us next time on Why Is This a Podcast? Stay safe, stay healthy, wear a mask, get the vaccine when you're offered. Take it
Keep
easy.
on gaming.
Bye.